Welcome to Uniquely Loved, a celebration of authenticity and divine inspiration. Hello, my loves. Did you know there are so many different ways to actually be able to see or perceive all things spiritual? It's exciting and can be extremely infuriating when these skills start coming online and you start experiencing all the new intuitive hits because, well, for me, I want to explore them and try to understand them. However, it's not like the movies, at least for me and a lot of people I work with. In the movies, it's just a witch, a spiritualist, somebody, some kind of practitioner getting visions. And they seem to be clear visions because they'll see colors, they'll see time framing, they'll see, they'll actually see a person talking to them and they'll be able to tell off details and everything. And it's like, oh, I want that. That's so cool. That hasn't been fully my experience, um, especially at the beginning. So let me tell you a little bit about my process and how convoluted it really comes across for so many of us. And we have to put it together like a puzzle. Um, I would actually liken myself to like a spiritual detective trying to put all the different pieces together because I have to incorporate every single spiritual skill I have in order to make a complete picture for somebody if I'm trying to convey what it is I'm getting. And it can be so weird. So, in the beginning, I couldn't see anything with my mind's eye. I had antiphasia, um, which just means I can't visualize. And I can now to a degree, as I've been exploring these gifts and skills and experimenting a whole lot, those skills have started to come online. But oftentimes, when I would do a guided meditation, um, it would literally just be like, yeah, okay, I'm listening to this and I agree, this is what's happening. And I would set the intention saying, yes, this is what's happening with my energy. I wouldn't be able to see anything. And that's okay. That is perfectly valid. That is a way of doing guided meditations or any kind of meditation. Because oftentimes it could be like if you're trying to drift off into a meditative state, or if you're drifting off to sleep, it can feel like you have a knowing of like you're being told what you're experiencing or seeing or whatever. And then your brain tries to fill in the pieces, maybe create a scene or just create an experience for it. And that's how it would be for me in the beginning. Sometimes I would get the emotions with it though, and it would be really weird. So it's like I would be reading a story to myself, and yes, I am meeting, this person, we're talking about this stuff, and then, oh, a really cute kitten, walks into the picture, and I just go, oh, I have to pet the kitty, you know, and the dreams can be just like that. The visions can be just like that. And I know I have the knowing that this is what's going on. And then I have the automatic impulse of, ooh, pet the kitty. It's so cute, and then that aw feeling that comes with it. And that would be it. And then experimenting with trying to see myself in different places, like in front of me in my room, um, or visualizing specific things. Like there's one book that says, hey, visualize an apple. Sure, it's red. I know this. I can't see it, but I know it. And the more we practice and the more we shed a lot of the blockages and resistances that are hindering us, because a lot of times we just think, oh, it's easy, right? No, it can be easy for some people, but if we've been hindered, like religious trauma, um, I had the belief that only special people could talk to angels, talk to God. I was like, oh, you got to be a pastor, you got to be chosen or selected. And unlearning all of that was like, oh, anybody can talk to any of the gods, any of the angels, any of the elements, any member of the spiritual team, like our ancestors. Anybody can do it. And the more I intentionally connected the more I intentionally tried to practice these different skills to see if I could, it would get so frustrating. It would. But the more I intentionally did all of this stuff, sooner or later, I started to actually experience these shifts. I started getting glimpses of colors. I started smelling flowers, perfumes, brownies, cookies, and some not so nice things. And it would be it'd be really cool. And I would get frustrated because it wasn't happening as fast as I wanted it to happen. I would see other people and it's like, oh, it looks so effortless for them. But I don't know their journey. I don't know all the crap they had to go through to unlearn, to learn, and everything else to get there. And now I'm able to channel. I'm able to actually hear, and sometimes I get visuals. So it all works. The more we intend and practice, the easier it starts to flow. And it takes a whole lot of practice. It's just like learning to do something brand new physically. You have to get that muscle memory going. And it can be infuriating and painful because, you get sore muscles and everything. And I would get headaches, uh, especially sinus headaches, as I would be releasing a lot within the throat chakra, because that is where a lot of our perceptions come through. They get filtered through. And my husband is a wonderful channel. Something will just pop into his head. It seems like a good thing to say, and he'll say it. And I recognized early on that was divine guidance. It's like, why can't I do that? I had some really thick filters put in, built up over time, because I had a lot of lifetimes to where I was silenced. Um, I was ostracized and other things for my gifts. So I had to, put on the veils, put on a whole lot of protections, and stop my gifts so they wouldn't hurt me anymore. And in this lifetime, I have been experiencing an unshedding or a shedding of all that and unlearning of all that. And it's been a huge process, and it can be a huge process for a lot of people because, we see kids, they're highly intuitive, and sometimes they are extremely, extremely gifted spiritually. And people, being people who are scared of the unknown, will squash that really, really quick. Be like, oh, you're weird. Don't do that. You're going to get, you know, you're going to get judged, or they do get judged. So they squash it. It's a lot like the kids making fun of the other kid with an imaginary friend who is oftentimes a member of their spiritual team. But people don't realize that. So it's it's always a lot more than you think. So when you see somebody who is really, really able to just say, I am getting this information or I am seeing this information, don't just assume that they had it easy, because I guarantee they probably didn't. And don't compare your journey to theirs. You don't know a thing about their journey, and nobody knows a thing about yours unless you tell them. So I'm telling you a little bit about mine so you can know it's not always easy. It doesn't always come to us easy, and we have to work at it. It's just like learning things in school. You do repetition until you get good at it, and then you layer on a new skill or another section of that particular skill that you're trying to learn. And eventually it does work. And I would, even when I am meditating now, I'll get the knowings of, this is what's happening. Like, again, I'm reading a script or I'm reading a book and my brain's trying to fill in all the pictures or all the scenery, what's going on. And then I'll smell. I have to tap in with my emotions and be like, okay, what am I feeling? Am I feeling sensation, chills, heat, anything like that on my skin to kind of fill in the environment? Um, am I actually seeing anything with my mind's eye? Or oftentimes I'll get memories of either watching a movie scenes from movies, music videos, skits on like TikTok or whatever. And that will be a clue to help fill in the picture of what it is, like an idea of the interaction going on or an idea of home. So, a very fun one is oftentimes Loki will show up as the Marvel Loki, just because it's an image I recognize. And he thinks it's fun. So, why not? It's like, hey, I look good in this. um, and then others whom I've never seen will, I'll get like little bits and pieces. Sometimes I'll just see like a portion of like the eye and the forehead, maybe a bit of nose. It's like, okay, can I back up a little bit to see like more of this person? Nah, that's all I was getting. um, if I'm happen to see like a really cool dragon, I'll just kind of get like the snout and a little bit of fire to kind of say, hey, fire breathing dragon. And of course their scales and whatnot. And I'm like, cool. I want to see the whole thing. That would be awesome. Um, and another thing, I drift off to sleep and I get into the meditative state, and this happens a lot, especially early on after I started unlocking some of these visual skills. Um, I would see, well, you're ever in a really, really dark room with no light, and then your eyes finally adjust, and then you can see like a little bit of the furniture or maybe the other person that's next to you, and you're trying to just kind of make them out to see who the heck they are. It would be like that. And just as I'm able to pick out a feature, be like, oh, okay, I think I see a nose or the ridge of the jawline. It'll morph and I'll see another kind of partial face. And it would just be like, huh? And then I'll see a fish or the wing of a bat. And it just keeps morphing and merging, like stuff coming out of the darkness or out of smoke or out of water or just kind of like just beyond the veil, and they're just shrouded. And each night is a little bit different. And it happens so quickly, my brain wants to stop and analyze so I can figure out who the heck it is. But the visuals don't stop. And if I get too excited, be like, I'm getting info. This is great. I want to know who. And I try to utilize my other senses, then it just kind of all goes away because I start waking up because I get excited. And that can be really infuriating. So we have to lean into it and just try to relax, because when we're relaxed and in a meditative state, um, or in the moment doing whatever, like drawing, writing, doing dishes and cooking, um, doing chores, it doesn't matter. If we're in the moment, it's a little bit easier, because sometimes the visuals will pop in. And of course, I want to stop and be like, yo, that was awesome. Can I have more? Or who is that? Can I get any information? Then it'd be crickets. Like, no, we were just reaching out that way. Damn it. So oftentimes our guides will help us expand these skills. And the more we just allow it to flow, the easier it actually happens. And for me, getting into the flow and allowing things to flow was a huge learning curve, because I was, I still have moments where I was really, really wound tight, anxiety ridden, worried about everything, always very, very stressed, very much like gotta have a schedule and gotta stick to it. I'm retired Army, so you always got to be early, and that mentality stayed with me. And I have been learning and unlearning how to let that go and go more with the flow. And as I've done that, as I've let go of the need to control my environment, my situations, let go of the idea of everything having to be perfect, especially with my artwork, that has been a huge teacher. Um, it's come in faster. It's come in faster. So, learning to just relax, whether it be the nervous system, the mind, breathing, and being more in the moment helps tremendously. It really does. Um, there are stones and herbs out there that can help as well. Mugwort is one. I tried it in a tea once. never again. I really, really, really wanted to see more. And it was very, very strange. I could not make sense of what I was seeing, but it felt off. And all I knew is it just wasn't for me. I could perceive a lot of different things that I could not analyze. Um, it was very strange. And even now, I've tried to continue to analyze, and it was just like, what the hell was that? I've tried. Um, but I'm not going to drink mugwort tea again. It's just not for me. Other people have great, great success. Um, Amethyst is one that can really, really help with our third eye. Meditations to where we are peeling back the layers that are preventing us from seeing. That can help, even just intending. So when I'm washing my face or doing a face mask to help exfoliate, um, I'm taking off masks. I'm taking off layers of the veil or whatever the heck you want to call it. And I intend to do that every single time I'm washing my face or doing one of those masks for self-care and just to, get my skin healthier. So our self-care routine can be multiple fold. We can add in intentions for energy work, for helping us to keep growing and to keep shedding. So keep experimenting, have fun with it. That's a huge key. The more we have fun with it, the less frustrated we're going to be, and the more we're going to grow. The frustration adds as a blocker. It creates a speed bump in the learning. And our world is already frustrating enough. So adding in the joy and the fun, the playfulness actually elevates our energy, elevates our mood, and helps us actually be in the moment instead of, this isn't working. It's never going to work. Because I've had those moments often, and it's normal. It is normal. And that's where we have to intentionally shift our thinking and the way that we're going about things so we can perceive easier. It takes a lot of work, but nothing says the work has to be doldrum, has to be hard. We can make it more fun, more playful. We can. And experiment on all the different ways that you can perceive. And that includes not just visualizing, smelling, touching items and seeing what you get from them. That is a way of perceiving things because you're perceiving information, whether it be energy, touch, emotions, senses, knowings. They're all tied together. As we grow in like one area, we're going to keep growing in the others as well. And our guides, our spiritual team, keep testing which ones work, which ones still need work, and they're always trying all the different ways. They don't stop trying to get through to us because they want us to grow just as much as we want to grow, or more so, because they're always trying to get through to us and see what works. And the more we look out for signs and synchronicities, that helps too, because we're connecting to our intuition. Automatic writing, just writing without a pre-plan of what you're going to write. It's like, all right, I'm just going to write whatever comes to mind. You can ask your guides to, help provide inspiration or input, or you can just be like, all right, I need to get something off my chest. So I'm going to write everything that comes to mind so I can vent it out. Or music helps a lot because anything that pumps you up and gets you feeling good, you can get in the moment just rocking out or listening to your favorite tunes or dancing or swaying or whatever. Um, Another one, I know there's more. There's so many more. It's just experiment and have fun. Artwork, that's the one. Draw. Don't even have a plan. Just scribble, scrabble, draw, whatever comes to mind. Some people start writing light language and they don't realize it. Some people love to do woodworking, clay work. It all counts because the more we're in that flow state, creating whatever it is we're creating, the more we're connecting to our intuition, and it all helps. And it's fun, unless you take the perfectionist attitude into it. Don't do that. Unlearn the perfectionist thing. That's that's been really difficult for me because I want to get everything just right before I'm done with it. And then we can overwork it and then ruin it or make it to where it's like, that's not what I wanted though. So learning to stop when it feels like it's done instead of looking the exact way you wanted it. That is also an unlearning because so many times it just needs to be just right. Who says the visual you have in your mind is just right? Our heart sometimes says things differently, and our heart kind of controls that creative flow. And that also helps us get into flow and into sync with our heart and with our flow of energy. And the more we keep practicing on that, then we can get it until it feels right instead of intellectually, yeah, that looks off. That circle isn't quite round enough. Instead of that, it's just like, okay, it's mostly a circle. What can I make with it? Oh, that could be a sun, and that little upset bit could be part of the sunshine or a solar flare or who knows what. That's when we can actually get creative, like Bob Ross, happy little accidents, because nothing's truly a mistake. Nothing is truly a mistake when we are trying to create. So have fun, explore, 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 explore. Get creative and experiment. Whatever feels right for you, go for it. Give it a try. Even if it's just I wonder what. I have a crystal ball that I've tried scrying into. And sometimes I'll get like this smoky visual. And sometimes I'd get like in the movies when you see something on the outside of the window kind of breathe on the glass, I'd get kind of that after effect of breathing on the glass. I'm just like, what the heck? I don't know how to interpret that. That's still a skill I am slowly working on because I'm trying to enhance everything. So I kind of put that aside for a little bit. And now that it's coming up, I guess I need to try it again. So if you give up on something or take a break, it's okay. You can always come back to it later and see what happens. You might get surprised in a great way. So keep trying. Keep trying to stay in a relaxed state, in a flow state, in a creative let's see what happens state. Let go of the expectations and just try to have fun with it. And every little bit, every single try adds up, and you will get huge results. I've seen it, I've done it, I've experienced it. So stop comparing yourself to anyone else. Your journey is awesome. It is. Even when it doesn't feel like it is, it is. And you are awesome. So remember that. I love you. I support you. Always remember you are accepted, you are valid, and you are loved.